This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire Upper Echelon community. Alright, today I want to talk about Ubisoft because it turns out that Ubisoft is currently imploding spectacularly as a company with no end in sight. A lot of people have been talking about this for weeks actually, but there's also a ton of sensationalism and what I call rumor mongering, which made me want to weigh in with everything I've been seeing, opinions, deductions, and a general overview of the entire situation. In essence, Ubisoft is a failing company right now, but let's take an honest top-down look at why that's actually happening. To begin, we'll travel back in time. Ubisoft, perhaps best known for their Assassin's Creed franchise, has finally decided to release a game set in feudal Japan. Excellent, right? Or at least it should be. A lot of reasons why people would be happy about that, especially after the success for Ghost of Tsushima, but what should have been a fan-favorite slam dunk rapidly became a widespread controversy. I have some very detailed videos on why precisely that is, focusing on a particular historian named Thomas Lockley and a controversy around the joint main character Yasuke, who is one of the protagonists in the game. But the gist of it is that Yasuke is not a fictional character. He's a real person who actually did exist in the time period, except rather than some sort of historically significant nation-altering warrior, despite what that historian claims, Yasuke was effectively a nobody. There's doubt as to whether or not he was ever a samurai in the first place, and Thomas Lockley appears to have done a substantial amount of colorful embellishment, if we're being as kind as possible here. All things considered, the entire situation got written off by one side of the political spectrum as a racist endeavor to make sure the main character isn't a black man, and it got championed by the other side as evidence of DEI narrative pollution and historical revisionism for the sake of cheap diversity points. Regardless of where you fall on that subject, it's not a good situation to have as a gaming publisher. That's kind of the foundation here, but going further, Ubisoft made a huge number of cultural blunders, I guess I'll call them, such as using the flag of a real-life Sekigahara reenactment group without permission, or more recently, merchandising a figurine that has Yasuke posing in front of a one-legged torii gate, which is best known for being a monument in Nagasaki commemorating the loss of life when America dropped the second atomic bomb. For anyone struggling to connect the dots on this part, after waiting a hefty number of years for a Japanese-themed Assassin's Creed video game, Ubisoft then chose to make the main character not from Japan, which means you go around as a non-Japanese, foreign-born, historically debated real-life figure, slaughtering an untold number of Japanese characters in the process, and then advertised that story by using symbolic representation of the Nagasaki atomic bomb. That is a colossally stupid thing to do, and was widely panned by critics as a completely tone-deaf blunder. Still, none of that even comes close to a complete picture, because Ubisoft has been struggling on a bewildering scale for at least the past couple of years. See, Assassin's Creed isn't their only franchise, despite being probably the one that they're best known for, and it's certainly not their only AAA level project. But what's even better than AAA level video gaming? Haha, that's right, quadruple A video gaming, which is supposedly what Ubisoft gave the world when they released Skull and Bones. Just one problem. Skull and Bones took almost a decade to finally get released, and in reality only ended up going the distance at all because Ubisoft was stuck in development hell as a result of their deal with the Singaporean government. Basically, they had to make this game because they didn't have a choice, aka government contracts. Hundreds of millions of dollars, many years of work, and the CEO quite literally called it a quadruple A game, only to have it immediately fail totally on release, for a multitude of reasons, which cumulatively made clear that this was not, in fact, a quadruple A product. Still, for Ubisoft, that's only the beginning, because in addition to all of that, they released a Star Wars product in 2024, which also bombed, with their fiscal year target statement reading, quote, "The revised targets are mainly a reflection of decisions taken for Assassin's Creed Shadows and the softer-than-expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws," end quote, which is corporate doublespeak for "The game is catastrophically bombing for us, and we are obligated to say that to our shareholders, but we can't say that literally in those words because it would spook the money. So instead it's softer than expected sales figures." Really not a strong start. Alright, endorsement time, and today that endorsement is Surfshark, which is the longest running and consistent sponsor for the entire channel. Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network, and VPNs, among a variety of other uses, protect you from a bunch of different things. Keep in mind, nothing in cybersecurity is ever perfect. It's about taking certain effective precautions and recognizing that you've done your best to mitigate common threats, but Surfshark protects against certain types of phishing attacks, malware, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks in particular, and also against invasive big tech data harvesting as well as tracking. On the entertainment side of things, Surfshark unlocks additional content on streaming websites, like Netflix, for example. Just change your region, which unlocks additional options in your video library as a result of geo-gated licensing agreements. Surfshark also helps mitigate regional censorship, like the government deciding to block certain websites. And Surfshark also offers encryption, IP protection modification, and more. I say this in every single ad that I do for them. Surfshark operates completely separate infrastructure from NordVPN, and Surfshark also maintains a warrant canary. If you know what that is, you'll be happy to hear it. If you don't know what that is, you wouldn't care anyway, so it wouldn't actually matter. If you click the link down below, surfshark.com/echelon, you can get 4 extra months with your purchase. Again, link down below, surfshark.com/echelon, for an extra 4 full months for free of the service. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel. Back on task. Times were tough and community sentiment was circling the drain, so what happened next? Well, Ubisoft decided they should delay Assassin's Creed Shadows until fiscal year 2025 after canceling press viewings for the Tokyo Game Show, which was a whole different controversy, which unexpectedly became the focal point for an entire cottage industry of social media gossip, speculating everything from Yasuke is somehow being removed from the game completely, to Tencent being the architect of the entire plotline, putting Yasuke in as the main character, only to tank the share price of the whole company so they could buy out Ubisoft for pennies on the dollar because they knew that the game would bomb as a result. It's a shit show. Just to put some things in perspective here, no. Just a big, flat, categorical no. Ubisoft is not removing Yasuke as the main character. I have my gripes with his character composition, I have my gripes with Ubisoft as a company, but Yasuke is a pretty sufficient narrative blank slate when you really think about it, and a fully fleshed out narrative itself does not get rewritten and remade over the span of a few months. Even if it gets delayed longer than this, that is simply not happening. And to put it bluntly, anyone telling you it is happening or dancing on Ubisoft's grave in celebration of it or speculating about it as if it's a real possibility doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Here's the thing. I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about who's wrong, and for good reason, by the way, but right now I want to spend some time talking about someone who's right about the situation more than anyone else I've seen, and his name is Tom Henderson, a writer for Insider Gaming. I have one singular remaining contact at Ubisoft. A couple years ago I had a few more than that, now I don't, and there's quite a few reasons for it, but there is one person left who I feel confident reaching out to, who actually picks up the phone, and that person has confirmed a variety of things to me that not only debunk the absolute bullshit that these grifters are peddling, but also confirms the reporting of Tom Henderson, marking him down in my personal book as someone who very clearly tackles the subject in a responsible way, which is worth mentioning. In that same vein, Tom Henderson reported in early October that Assassin's Creed Shadows has a co-op mode in development, which was explicitly not a new addition as a direct result of the delay, but could easily explain why a game looking to differentiate itself from the proverbial herd would opt to set back a final release when the track record from their company is lackluster at best. And people often criticize Ubisoft for being formulaic with their gameplay innovations or lack thereof. This could be an answer to that. Even still, whatever ends up happening with Assassin's Creed Shadows down the line, here and now, Ubisoft is in a world of trouble financially, which is clearly visible when you take a look at the company's stock price. Post-pandemic 2021, the company was worth over $84 per share, and today, it's barely worth $13. Sure, you could probably argue that a lot of companies have undergone a correction after the COVID lockdown entertainment boom in that particular sector, but when you compare it to market peers like Take-Two Interactive or Electronic Arts, you just don't see that sort of decline. Take-Two is certainly down some, roughly 25% from 2021 highs, but EA is flat, and other competitive publishing companies are actually up during that same time frame. Well, with pretty much every single recent Ubisoft title falling flat on its face and skidding across the pavement, and the stock price also going through the floor, it's created a perfect storm feeding frenzy on social media where the speculation is now running wild about why it happened, as well as what comes next. Remember that part about Tencent supposedly putting Yasuke in the new Assassin's Creed game on purpose just to tank the company's share price before a buyout? Never mind the fact that the game was only even initially unveiled in 2024, by which time the share price had already cratered by upwards of 75%. But everybody loves a good rumor, and this one came at the perfect time. Turns out there is now legitimate speculation that Yves Guillemot, CEO and co-founder of Ubisoft, is talking to Tencent about stabilizing the company, which would probably mean an expansion of the investment they already hold, which is a non-controlling minority stake at the moment. But going even further, in a move which throws gasoline on the social media drama turbine, a firm called AJ Investments, a minority stakeholder in Ubisoft for all of 5 minutes, who tried to catch a falling dagger and purchase their shares in 2023 as the bottom fell out, decided to write an open letter to Ubisoft stating, quote, Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of the Guillemot family members and Tencent who take advantage of them. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for the gamers, end quote. This quite obviously fueled all the rumors that Tencent was somehow playing a role behind the scenes, but just in case there was any doubt here, they came right out and actually say that towards the end of the letter. Quote, we believe that Guillemot family and Tencent are discounting potential value of Ubisoft in order to buy more shares at lower valuation and eventually take full control of the company at heavily discounted valuation, end quote. Personally, I think it's an absolute crock of shit. A small-time shareholder in a struggling gaming publisher is trying to make waves with a stupid open letter, while the company spent the past 4 years making a multitude of terrible decisions, and sometimes there honestly isn't a shadow cabal of conspiring masterminds dictating every single business move in the entire universe. I get that some people want to think that way, I certainly do so myself at times, but for this one, my spidey senses are very much not tingling, and I really do honestly believe Ubisoft just shit the bed royal with their creative choices after stagnating into a repetitive business model, more than their peers, which is naturally starting to shift across the entire industry. Think of it like this. Ubisoft is the company that doubled and then tripled down on play to earn and NFTs with their Ubisoft Quartz initiative back in 2022, later saying that gamers just don't get it, they don't understand, and they fail to see the true value of NFTs, after which the NFT market completely imploded. According to a report from Dap Gamble, over 95% of all NFTs are now worthless investments as of 2023. It's far worse now. And if you want even further evidence of the bubble, take a look at Google Trends. Interest peaked in 2022, and now it's gone. Imagine, if you can, being a massive gaming publisher, sinking untold resources into a project like this, and then telling your own audience, you're just idiots who don't understand the value. Is it really so hard to see why this company failed on its own without some sort of massive conspiracy? Is it? Regardless, even as the walls come crashing down and the roof caves in, they just can't catch a break. Because now there's a class action lawsuit against them from a law firm that has way too many name partners for me to list them all right now. And the lawsuit is centered on data sharing procedures with a particular focus on Facebook, or Meta rather, and a piece of technology that they allow companies to use, ad tracking technology that is, called Pixel. Interestingly, Pixel is a very common target now for privacy lawsuits, and there's pretty good grounds for it, so it's not some sort of joke or a shot in the dark. It's a legitimate class action complaint with defensible grounds directed at Ubisoft during, quite possibly, their weakest moment in the past decade as a company. Is that why they're doing it right now? I'm not sure. It would probably give them leverage or bargaining power, but Ubisoft is getting hit from every conceivable angle, and the blows just keep on landing. I don't take joy in this, by the way. Ubisoft has made some of my all-time favorite games easily over the years, but you can't be the company that embraces the crypto bubble at the top of its delusion, tells gamers flat out that they need to get comfortable not owning anything during primetime consumer discomfort at that very prospect, and then drop the ball on pretty much every single game you produce for 4 years straight without basically bankrupting your entire company. No, I don't think it's a massive conspiracy to devalue their share price by putting Yasuke as the main character for half of one video game, so Tencent can swoop in and claim full control of the company because it's all a DEI Trojan horse. That is hilarious copium for the people who just dislike the current Assassin's Creed Shadows product, which is a thing you can dislike, by the way. There's valid reasons, but a lot of the reasons that these people have are not valid. Anyway, when you consider the past 4 years with Skull and Bones, creative stagnation, embracing ridiculous concepts, alienating their core audience, and now lawsuits and bailouts on the horizon, Ubisoft is understandably at the bottom of the entire industry pack, with a lot of work to do before they could ever again be respected by pretty much anyone in the entire community. Funnily enough, with the properties that they own, like Rainbow Six Siege, I think the current share price that is wildly below market standards, and I could even see myself making a purchase here, cleaning up a tidy profit on the rebound. But first I need to see them pull their heads out of the sand, because if they don't do that, there won't even be a rebound. Don't forget here, Ubisoft are the sole reason, actually, that stopkillinggames.com is even a thing, after they nuked everybody's copy of The Crew, which they should not have done. If you're located in Europe, you should definitely check that website out, by the way. It has a lot of clear instructions. I'll have it linked down below in the description, and I'm working on another video focused a lot more on that angle. But it's an effort with hundreds of thousands of signatures now, trying to straight up change the law, because games as a service, but sold as a product, that go offline eventually and become totally unplayable, which happens all the time, shouldn't even be legal. Ubisoft are the ones who fucked up so badly, those laws might actually get put on the books or changed, because they decided to shaft their customers with zero consideration and zero recourse. I know EA, Electronic Arts, have been the industry punching bag for a long time when it comes to user dissatisfaction, but Ubisoft is making a very strong play for the front-running spot, and unless they slow down, take a beat, and basically do everything different than they are right now, well, companies do go bankrupt. That is a thing that does in fact happen. Anyway, that's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. Locals and Patreon, monthly memberships, special deals, and more. The video sponsor, Surfshark, of course. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything, of course, and have a nice night.